beats. Now, before we get into it, just a heads up. I am not a mental health professional. What I share here is based on personal experiences and opinions. If you are dealing with a serious mental health crisis, you need to speak to someone immediately. Reach out to a professional. They know exactly what to do to help you. The information and advice that I give are for general insights, not a substitute for personal help. Please understand that your choices are your own. Now, let's do this journey together and remember, it's all about personal growth. Now let's get into today's episode. Well, hello. Welcome back to Becoming a Butterfly podcast, the place never too late to become your better self. I am your host, your good friend, girlfriend, homie, pal, Christina Butterfly. And I'm so excited to be back here with you guys another week. I know, listen, if you are already subscribed, and you know, been chilling for a few weeks, okay? Yes, I definitely have. What I don't want to do is burn out, right? I want to have longevity. Really, in this first season, planning out and structuring how your girl is going to flow. And if you've been watching me from the beginning, you know that I had launched on January 4th. And so I thought it was absolutely poetic when I looked on the calendar and seen that April 4th fell on a Thursday. So hello, here we are. And we are launching, I guess, our second part of our first season with episode 11. And we are going to unpack some baggage, y'all. Yes, that's what we're going to do. We're going to lighten up some emotional loads. Over some things that have been holding us down, right? And have us move forward. Okay, that's the goal, so that we can be able to build this life we always dreamed about having it, right? Okay. So before we get into episode 11, episode 10 we go. And I just want to do a quick recap on what we discussed and talked about on episode 10, right? So on episode 10, we talked about stepping out of your comfort zone and walking into that growth, right? Because remember, you're not going to reach the level that you're trying to go. I tell y'all, I ain't just talking to myself. Oh. Now listen, I'll tell you, I'm not just talking to you, I'm also talking to myself. You understand? Because life be still life, and my life done turned in so many different directions since episode 10. Yo, it's easy. It is so crazy. But as I practice these skills and ground myself, go to therapy on a regular, I do the things that I need to do to make sure that my mental, so when life be happening and things unexpected happens, the maneuver, right? But stepping out of your comfort zone helps your mind, helps you expected changes, because you're finding yourself used to putting yourself in situations that's not allowing you to be comfortable. Okay? So step 1 was identifying your comfort zone. Identify what makes you comfortable. You feel what I'm saying? What is your comfort zone that just has you comfortable and stagnant? And what are your boundaries that solidify that is never going to be crossed? The difference, your pros and cons, if you will. But know which boundaries, what boundaries can be shifted and what boundaries can be unwavered. That is the first thing you need to do when you start in this process of realizing that I'm not moving life and I need this comfortable. So what is the first step? What is it that has me comfortable and stuck? And what is my non-negotiables? All right. Step 2 is setting clear objectives. Okay. Knowing exactly where it is you want to go. You may not know exactly what you need to do to get there, but you need to know exactly where you want to go. I was talking to my therapist yesterday, and things in my life has shifted so much in the last 6 weeks that it's not even possible for me to move to Alabama this year. And if you've been watching me from the beginning, you know that is a dream. That's such a dream of mine. Like, it's on my vision board. You understand what I'm saying? But life be life, and things has happened. And so I was telling my therapist that these goals that I had set for myself now have to be shifted. But this was the funny part. I've already had these set goals, right? That I wanted to have if I was to continue to live in Trenton before the thought of the idea of me even moving to Alabama. I had these set goals. And then once I decided that I didn't want to be in Trenton anymore, I created new goals, right? I set clear objectives, okay? It again. But because I had such a clear goal prior to the new goal, it wasn't hard for me to reset. You understand what I'm saying? It wasn't hard for me to say, okay, if this is the decision I'm going to have to make for now, then this is the road I'm going to have to take if I'm going to have to be here. You understand what I'm saying? Because the end goal, the end goal isn't just living in Alabama. That's a dream. The end goal is that I'm going to be a multimillionaire. See, that is the ultimate dream. Whatever path take to get and dream, the ultimate goal, the main goal, is to be a multimillionaire, then I'm going to have to go with how this going. God ain't allowing just anything to happen to me for a reason, right? So I have to see where this is leading to. But we know what the ultimate dream is. We know what the ultimate goal is. Businesses, Alabama would have killed this particular dream that I really care a lot about. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I want to own dispensaries of dispensaries. And living in black folks only own about 2% of the marijuana. 2%. It's still more feasible for me to make that happen here, because it's completely legal here, right? And I was willing to go the harder way because I want to get out of here. The guy said, nope, not yet. Not yet. And I'm even going to make it a little bit more comfortable for you to do it. So that's what he did. But I had to have some clear objectives. I had to have some direction. Okay? Gradually explore incremental changes. Gradually. Okay? I heard something not too long ago when she was saying habit stacking. I forget her name. I was watching a young lady, and she was talking about how she had to learn how to take a habit that she already has existing and connect it to a new habit to help her remember the new habit, right? But you have to start small. Want to just pile yourself up with so many things. I always tell the story of how I used to have a very hard time in keeping my room clean. And so I started by just making my bed. So no matter what the room looked like, I would make my bed every single day. Where after a while, subconsciously, you come walking upstairs to your room that's a mess and a perfectly made up bed. It's like one of these. You know what I'm saying? And before you realize it, now my room, for the most part, stay clean. I might have some clothes or whatever, but it's not a consistent, long, drawn out thing. Like, it's not going to happen because I make sure I make my bed every day. You feel what I'm saying? Every single day. I was having a hard time remembering doing my skincare routine, my morning skincare routine. 5 o'clock in the morning, I developed that habit of getting up at 5 and going, what you first thing you do is go to the bathroom. So what I now have a bag that has all of my skincare regimens in it, and I go into the bathroom. And before you know it, now I have this habit stacked on top of a habit that I already created. So it's imperative that you start small, because when you start small, you learn how to add on to it. Listen, this thing, I am learning even now that it's not a race. We put so much pressure on ourselves, especially if you're getting these things later in life like I am. That's why our slogan is, it's never too late. Never too late to become your better self. Because I did for a long time felt like I wasted too many years, so now I feel like I'm on this rat race, and it's like, go get it. Like yes, I need to stay focused. I need to stay diligent. I need to stay consistent, but I also have to be in the present. I also have to be in the now. And it's very difficult for me. It's very difficult for me because my now is not looking like I want it to look. It's not the way it was, nowhere near. And because I'm on this destiny, I'm on this journey to get to changing lives. I want to speak on stage. I want to be a change agent. I want to be that one that people can look at and see that if she did it, if that girl can take herself off of Social Security. I've been on Social Security 6 years old, almost 20, relying on the government to survive. Prior to that, I had many jobs, but I also was on welfare. Shut up, ain't played by my food stamps. You understand what I'm saying? And now I'm really doing everything in my power to change my mindset from that mindset to abundance and wealth. I still can't imagine my life without food stamps, but I can't wait to imagine my life, to have a life without food stamps. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't want that to be a panic for me. So I keep laying down these breadcrumbs. I keep planting these seeds. Better scenario. I keep planting these seeds and watering it and planting and watering it and believing that God, this dream that God, a multimillionaire, to start businesses to change people's lives, dispensaries for convicted felons when can't get a job. You always find a job with me. And guess what? Especially if you convicted, you definitely gonna find a job with me. Come less, please. Dispensaries, like, they have chains best to run a dispensary. You understand what I'm saying? Like, this is my dream. Why? Because y'all, I was 16 years old. You went to the club. I was a little terrified to be at the 16. You feel what I'm saying? Just me. Not to say I ain't never touched a pole in my life, because I have. But I just, that was and as my dad died, I'm the oldest. Like, listen, I'm sure it was anybody know about the fudgery. But I had to understand that the choices that I was making, I had to make different choices. I had to. Took a very long time. Too long. But in God's time, it was right on time. Because everything I've gone through leading up to now, I couldn't have missed none of them steps. None of it. To be the woman that I am today, to be able to stand 10 toes. That if I want us to know that we're rich off of the essence of exactly who we are. Because see, I'm going to change my life and go That's how I'm going to change my life. So I'm going to keep showing up, and I'm going to keep planting seeds, and I'm going to keep that. You know what? One day I'm going to get that phone call. One day I'm going to chat that's rolling on, touched you so much that you want to touch me and help me grow this podcast. Sending out a plug. If you are being blessed by the knowledge that I so love doing on this podcast, hoping to help free you from the mind of poverty, helping free the mindset of not wanting to grow and become better. You understand what I'm saying? So gradually explore small changes. Okay, just add them, small little changes into your life. Okay, and you will start to see things. At first it won't seem like it's nothing happening, but then all of a sudden you're going to realize, like, wow, my life is really changing. Okay, embrace discomfort and learn from failure, y'all. This, I'm not saying that's easy at all. Because in the midst of going through this stuff, you're like, this is some bullshit. You feel what I'm saying? Like, in the midst of going through all the hell and the headache, you're like, this can't be. Last week was hell for me. For some apparent reason, like, last week was just really crazy, right? But I said, shift in the energy, that I had to change the perception of what I felt like was going on, because what's actually happening in my life, I've never been more happier. You know what I mean? Like, I've never been more happier. God decided to bless me with a king in my life. You feel what I'm saying? I'm just like unexpected. So I'm like, yo, why am I feeling this energy is shifting and I'm getting uncomfortable? You feel what I'm saying? Like, I'm getting uncomfortable and it don't feel comfortable. It don't feel, you know what? All right, I'm gonna feel what I'm feeling. I sat on with my therapist yesterday for an hour crying, and I feel amazing. You feel what I'm saying? I'm not one to like to complain to people about stuff, because listen, like life, and then what you gonna do? You feel what I'm saying? Are you gonna let your circumstance keep you from growing and not being that you know you're supposed to be? Or are you gonna say you let me make some choices, let me make some decisions, but allow yourself to feel? You understand? Don't ignore them feelings. Do not take 24 hours at the most. Get up off your ass and make some decisions and choices of how you want to change it. And sometimes it's just waking up, getting them out the bed, making your bed up, getting in the shower. It's not necessarily making a specific decision on how that way. Sometimes it's really just about choosing to love you completely. And whatever that looks like for you. You understand what I'm saying? If it means that I'm just going to get up and get dressed, I ain't going nowhere. But if I don't get up and put some clothes on, outside look like what I want my inside to look like. So when I look in the mirror, I see what I want to feel. A lot of times that fake it till we make it thing is something we have to embrace and take in when it comes to your emotions and how you feel, especially if you deal with mental disorders like I do. And it's so easy to slide into depression. I told my therapist I was finding myself fighting me not to find myself depressed. And it's like, how do you talking about depression, girl? For real? That's a part of that disease. That's a part of living. Bipolar disorders. When things are not turning out the way you want it, whether it's good or bad, right? If you have this massive plan in your head and all of a sudden things have changed because of decisions you made, that's not. But it's to slow your decision or hard, whatever the case may be. God knows how you can get there, the best way for you to get to that dream, right? You idea how you want to get there, but that's not how always. You know that saying, God says, tell me your plan and watch God laugh, right? Like, you understand when I'm start throwing monkey wrenches? How you gonna handle it? How you gonna deal with it? I ain't say you ain't gonna get there. You just might not get there the way you got it planned out in your head. And when I tell y'all, I'll be having it planned, y'all, listen to me. I'm talking about T's crossed, I's dotted. God literally got to go in with an eraser and be like, I ain't say to cross that, and I ain't say to dot that neither. How about that's an L? It ain't even a T. You all jump me, you look at you. You feel what I'm saying? I'll be like, what are you doing? But it's the truth, y'all. It truly, truly is the truth. Those situations, whether you know it or not, is preparing you to be comfortable and being uncomfortable, okay? Things that you think are a failure, when you start looking at it as lessons as opposed to being a fail. I just learned a lesson. I didn't fail at anything. This was a lesson I needed to learn. Recently made some brownies. They were disgusting. And it was crazy because I'm usually better baker. I'll cook all day. I will know. But I'm such an out of the box person that the thought, because bacon is direct measurements. Like you can't, cooking, so that's how I feel. You know what I'm saying? I feel a little bit more of this and a little bit more of that, right? Bacon, no. Like A, this is B, this is C, this is D. You understand what I'm saying? So I was on my 8.5 moves, and it was like, no, girl, you tripping. This ain't working. So now I say, okay, I have to clear my head, go in here intentionally, make sure you have everything you need, and you got the hair. You understand what I'm saying? But that's how you learn from your failures. You gotta fail. A lot of times we fail and give up and say that we failed instead of saying this is a lesson. Listen, any multimillionaire in your life, he's the first 5 that I promise you, failed miserably too. Not failing. I heard a millionaire say when he made his first $1 million mistake, that was a great, because he knew he was never a mistake again. You ain't never gonna make that one again. Do you understand me? I can't wait till I'm in a position to make $1 million mistake. Oh, yes. Because if I could make $1 million in the bank, some god doggone way. You hear me? You hear me? But that also means that I'm willing to take risk. Do you understand? Taking that risk. Once you learn how to be uncomfortable, how to embrace being discomfortable, you'll be ready to take some risks. Practice self-compassion and celebrate progress. Okay? Please. We, including myself, we have to stop being so hard on ourselves. We, including myself, when I was editing my videos, you become a content creator, you learn how to batch content, right? So, prime example, this video is being recorded sometime in March. Content, things that's happening in your life currently might not be in 4 or 5 months later down the line, right? I'm listening to the content that I recorded last year. I was instilling on this weight loss journey, and oh my God, I was so gung-ho. I'm just listening to myself. Excuse me, something got in my eye. I'm healthy alternative, which is absolutely amazing, and the fasting and all these things, and fasting for 100 and all these hours. I got a moment to kick in where you don't feel hungry no more. Yeah, yo, Lord. And then I had to deal with recently with diagnoses and just, yo, I ain't even ready to even say the words yet. Okay, I ain't even ready to say the words yet. But just these to get this weight off, it just got to like, I'm just gonna breathe. Like we just gonna breathe. So now I fast according to beliefs. Certain days, certain times, certain energies. I focus on when I'm cooking a meal that I cook. And them days when it just don't happen that way, it just don't happen that way. Now, because of my recent diagnosis, I'm a lot more conscious, even with eating out. But I take this thing one day at a time. And so I had to practice self-compassion very hard on myself. I was very angry. It's so crazy. When you start beating yourself down, stop and think about all the things you have already overcome. Do you understand me? Because I can't tell you the last time your girl bought a pack of cigarettes, okay? I can't tell you the last time your girl bought a vape pen. And if you watch any of my early podcast recordings, you'll see me with my little blue pen. Your girl do not. I don't have that type of vape pen no more. I still have my vape, but this thing right here, I find myself, I might pump on this thing 3 to 4 times a day. Adult. You feel what I'm saying? Y'all. It's so good. God is so good. Whoever you choose to believe in, your higher God, my Ori, my higher self, opening up my third eye. I believe in the magic of being able to hear my ancestors. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, these are all the things that I believe. I told y'all, I already know this podcast is going to change my lives and others. I belong on the internet. My man told me, like, girl, you know you talk a lot. Hey, that's why I got a podcast, boo. I want to change your life. Possible. Yes, you too can start your podcast. You too can start your YouTube channel. It ain't got to be a podcast. In both ways. What you do is your business, and whatever y'all, don't y'all understand? White people, let me tell y'all, white people take any doggone hobby and turn it into a business. Do you understand me? They understand that it takes businesses for you to have financial freedom. And there's zero excuses. Okay? So now let's get to the episode. I know you like, girl, this ain't even we ain't even get into the episode. No, y'all, we didn't. I'm real intentional with this podcast. I don't want it to be a speed through, no nothing. Okay. No, that's not what we doing. Okay. This is educational. So if this is something that is meant for you, you gonna take the time out and you gonna listen to it, you gonna learn it, you gonna let it feed you. Do you understand me? All right. So welcome to episode 11. Unpack baggage. Lightening lightening your emotional load. We're gonna take 5 steps to unpack your baggage and thrive, y'all. This is something I know oh so very well. Because my God, your girl has some baggage. Okay. And I wasn't one to really like make a bunch of excuses about my baggage, but I expected people to have empathy for it. You understand what I'm saying? And the truth is, don't nobody give a damn. Y'all had watched my live, my journey about living with mental disease and mental illness. One of the most hardest things about being bipolar is that don't nobody give a damn. They don't nobody care. They don't care that their actions can lead you to the hospital. They don't care. And the truth is, as harsh as it is, they shouldn't. Because everybody got their own life to do what I need to do to strengthen my mental health. Actually knowing that it is a problem needs me that I need to do that my mental health is good. Right? I need to remove people out my life because you don't care about me, right? If I expect the therapy so I can strengthen my mental health, then that's what I need to do. Hell, I'm days. If you black, you need therapy. I don't give a damn if you a multimillionaire. That's my personal opinion. From the richest to that's just my opinion. But those are ways. Question. You ever had this friend that you can see them and it's living their best life, but a good drunken night, they start saying all this stuff that's completely irrelevant to what's going on in life today? In a different light and realize how much more they can unpack those baggages. I had a friend, she meant the world to me, but it was so difficult. Was that anytime got just a little too drunk that day, it wasn't just a fun drunken girls night. It turned into my life, my childhood never failed. And what never felt about it the most was that everything she went through and hurt you could ever gone through. And your girl lost her virginity at 4. You understand what I'm saying? Like, by family, by people who I loved and trusted. I wasn't in foster care, but my daddy died when I was 15. I had DHS in my life. I was the oldest, the guinea pig. I wouldn't say my mother was abusive at all. And she disciplined me like her parents disciplined her, which it wasn't peaches and cream. Like, my mom was saved, sanctified. I got pregnant at 15. I had to apologize to the church like the church was going to help me raise some kids or something. But I had got to the point in my life when I realized that I made excuses and I complained, and it was always about, but you don't understand what happened to me, right? It got to the point where I had to unpack my luggage, open it up. I had to take those bricks, or I was never going to see any kind of hope, and I would never be free, because you think you feel your best life. I feel like if I didn't do everything I could do to reach my dream, everything I do I'm out starting this podcast was my dream. It growing, it getting bigger. I want to do. I know that it's possible. Living my dream right now. But if I never did this, if I never decided to go back to, never decided to start unpacking all these things, if I never decided, if I all these things, would I be here today? Still be sitting, complaining, crying, do nothing but leave in and out of mental hospitals, resentful. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we go lucky, everything was good. Thing happened and all hell break loose. You understand me? So I know the importance of breaking these down. So today we're going to talk about identifying about practicing self-compassion, how to embrace forgiveness, y'all, and to learn how to cultivate gratitude. All right. So I'm not going to hold it up any longer. We're going to get into it. But question, have you ever felt like the weight of the world is just fuck your shoulders? Yo, one of my favorite Wheezy, and I'ma drop it on your, that feeling of the whole world is just, it ain't no job for my responsibility. And it was a job that I didn't want, so I was horrible at it. Never wanted, so I was horrible at it. Even when I got good at it, when I thought I was getting, my sister came, she was everything to me. Then she grew up and had nothing. My sister Stephanie, who I was horrible with, they're the closest. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, these decisions that you make, these things. I had to learn how to let it go. We a lot better now, thank you God. But honey, y'all, and I think everybody, I had to understand that I'm time machine and go back in time, change anything, right? When things happen to you outside of your control, I had to learn and understand that I can't hold the yes, it happened to me, but I didn't do it. I'm saying somebody else made a choice. It affected me, but I didn't make that choice. So I had to learn to let it go. Right? Not going to ever say that was easy, because it wasn't. It wasn't. Wasn't at all. So we're going to get into step 1. Identify your emotional baggage. Take stock of your emotional boundaries. Go look at your traumas, your negative beliefs, and conflicts that you never resolved. Take a look, take an inventory. In my spiritual practice, I follow the moon cycle. And so the new full moon is a very big thing in my spiritual beliefs. And so in both new and full, 3 days before and 3 days after is the shadow period. during those shadow periods, 3 days before, it's really about what it is that I need to do inner work in me. What do I need to work on myself to release and let go? And then those 3 days after the lunar moon, whether it's new or full, it's what am I want to bring in? What am I letting go? What am I manifesting? You understand what I'm saying? But it's real imperative to take these 3 days. Now you can take the whole cycle to work on releasing or whatever. This is how I choose to do it, but it's to do internal work on me. It ain't got nothing to do whether my man is treating me right, whether my kids is doing me right, whether my mom, my sisters. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody but me. In fact, if I even bring up another person, I need to go back to the drawing board, because at the end of the day, you teach people how to treat you like you're not being treated right. If you feel like you're not being right, then you really need to look in the mirror and understand that it's something that you're doing that allowing people around okay for you to be treated in such a way. Do you understand what I'm saying? Once you start traumas, looking at the negative beliefs you started thinking because of these trauma, because of the things you have gone through. I used to believe that life happens. So it's no point of having a dream. It's no point of having a goal because you're over your life. Then one day someone introduced me to the movie The Secret. And I'm sure that's many people's story who had went through an epiphany. And I was in Secret in 2019. That was definitely designed by God. But I had to really start breaking down these things that kept me bound and kept me holding back and kept me believing that this was just going to get. Learning how to resolve conflicts. Y'all, we are too quick to fight. We are too quick to just write people off. We're too quick to just say, you know what, now don't get me wrong, not for you, it's not for you. Have a habit of trying to hold on to things that God is trying to get away, okay? So we got to know what is for us and what is not. But just because something isn't for you don't mean that we have to be mean and nasty and dismissive. You feel what I'm saying? Like, I think we treat each other horribly as a people, especially us as Black people. I feel like we're so used to being beat down and condemned that doing it to each other, we're just to it. Like, people are really just numb to the chaos that we live on a consistent. If you're still in the hood like I am, you just get. So when you identify those emotional pain, it's a journey about. You have to sit in it and feel it, like acknowledge it. Because a lot of times you dealing with the things you're dealing with because you keep brushing it under the rug. And why I'm stuck. This situation, right, why I don't trust anybody and why I can't never have a successful relationship. Because of this particular thing that happened to me in the past. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I was telling my therapist I did 5 years. There's a lot to do with the fact that my father died when I was 15 years. It's a pivotal place in my life. And the day he died, my favorite uncle decided. He touched me from the time I was 15 till I was 17. And it took me at 17 to understand that this shit ain't normal. And what the fuck? This has never happened to me again, right? Holding on to that for so many years. Then when I confronted my uncle, when I got older, too old, and he blamed me and told me it was my fault. Oh, y'all. Broke loose. And it took me many years to realize that I was destroying myself. Something he did. Talk a little later about how I was in. That was the problem. I had to sit in it. I had to cry it out. I had to scream it out. I had to acknowledge it. I couldn't, because every time I tried to push it under the rug, and I'm good, my action showed I wasn't. You understand what I'm saying? Meanwhile, I'm doing things that peace. with a smile. A man didn't have to do me in the bed. I thought supposed to do. Do you understand what I'm saying? It had to. If your uncle can take it from you, anybody can. So me being abstinent for a year, and not to say I was never abstinent before, but it wasn't intentional. It had to do with depression or had to do with isolation nonsense. But this thing was intentional, you know. Start the process. Step 2, practice self-kindness, understanding. As you confronting your baggage, trauma, tell that inner child that you love them. Hold their hand as you walking through, because that's really what you're doing. You're mentally going back to that age, to that child, to that little girl or that little boy if need be, giving that little girl or little boy a hug, holding their hand. Acknowledge that everyone carries burdens. You are not alone. You out here by yourself. A lot of times we tell ourselves, it's me against the world. Okay. If that's how you want it to be, no, whatever you say out of your mouth is so. Know this. Every time you open your mouth, you're either going to cast a spell of good or a spell of bad. You choose. Either you're going to cast light onto your life or you're going to cast darkness onto your life. Whatever you say, know this. So if you tell yourself you're the only one who got going through this, you're the only one who ever dealt with this, ain't nobody when that it is other people in this world who have gone through to show other people that they're not. How about that one? How about that one? Everything you have gone through in your life, everything I have gone through in my life is so that I can sit here on this podcast and talk to you right now. It's so that I can sit here and tell you that you are not alone. And that if you want your life and your circumstances to change, you and when you realize, set an intention. Look, it's amazing how when you realize or decide, should I say, that you're not going to take this journey by yourself, you're going to reach out and find the people. And I personally feel that in this day and age, is zero excuses. There's zero excuses in this day and age. Why? Because hell, $5 a month at Patreon. You know, I ain't the Queen Post. Shout out to my wellness community. Listen, there is a community for all of us. And if you start aligning yourself, start loving yourself, start doing the people that love and support you, whether you know them personally as if, you know, or you created that community. Listen, I can't tell you the last time I was community group or in the clip. They don't even know that I'm reading the book that they're reading, but I don't have with dealing with the podcast and things that's going on right now. I don't have connected to the community. I still go on the app. I still participate in the chat. I still listen and connect to. I still have that connection because you need that community. You got to go find it. Whatever that can, but you got to go find it. In order to find it, you have to start being compassionate to yourself. You expect for somebody to show up to love you if you don't love yourself. And it's so much easier said than done, but it really is like saying, you know what, I love you, even though I don't love these roles, but I love every bit of you. I love your heart. I love the essence of you. I love the journey that you're traveling. I love that you want to be a better person. I love that you want to you got to. Because you're going to tell me that you just, come on, y'all. You got to find gratitude for what God gave you because you're not a mistake. None of us are. None of us are. So forgive yourself for any matter. All right. And that brings it to step 3 when we talk about seeking support. Oh, listen, see, I didn't get so wrapped up to doing this again. We had practice self-compassion. That was step 3. Seek support. Seek support, y'all. Don't go in it alone. Reach out to friends, families, professionals to help provide guidance, empathy, and practice help. Practical help, rather. If your first step is to finding you a therapist, it's many, many options out here today. Thank God. Person that you can at least start talking to and start unpacking some things. Able to get into different groups. You can go on Facebook. You can go on Google and look up groups close to you, whatever you into, whatever your thing is. Please. And listen, guys, I am very being alone. But I had to make sure that I don't find myself that doggone comfortable of being alone, that it's not important to think about when social media and all that stuff, we lost that hand-to-hand connection. It's important. It's important to get out and be around other people. And I'm speaking to the choir, y'all. Okay? I ain't just preaching to y'all. So make sure that you seek out support. Talk to your friends. Talk to your loved ones. I got a sister. Shout out to my sister Muffy. Me and Muffy don't have to talk. She dropped everything. Everything. Shout out to my sister Kiki. Shout out to my sister Kia. See, we knew each other since we was 13, 14 years old. Honey, listen. Okay? Reach out to those people. My family, listen, me and my cousins are more like brothers and sisters than we are cousins. So the truth be told, they the first one. Don't sit in it by yourself. Don't sit and suffer in silence. Teaching, especially, we're near my age, what happens in the house stays in the house. Keep folks out your business, all that nonsense. To a certain extent, I guess so. But I also remember a time when you tell everybody no, but it's important. We got to create our village, y'all. We got to get back in the mindset of us creating and having a village and supporting each other and loving each other. Setting your boundaries, because people, you feel what I'm saying? And a lot of times take advantage and not even realize that they taking advantage. They just live in life. It's your responsibility how to treat you. And you do that by creating boundaries. But you got to open up. And the truth is, in some ways, you might have to let some people cross some boundaries so you can realize what boundaries you need to have. Because you might not even know what you find out when you reach out to friends and family and getting professional help. Listen, for understand, I went to the school 44 years. I went to the school of trying to self-harm well over 30 plus times and still here in my, you understand me? I went through the school, mom, a high school dropout, all the statistics, and I'm still in. You understand me? But I had to go get help. I had to reach out to friends. I had to say I need help. And once you get the help, once you get the support, practice it. I meditate every single morning. I'm going to be honest. I might miss the weekend. But Monday through those practices help me remember to ground myself. Talking to my therapist every 2 weeks don't give me enough time. You understand? For me, a little crazy these last, I need some assistance. A safe space. She get paid to hear my vibe. It's the and to get true advice and true guidance on what direction, how to look at it, different perspective. You understand what? A lot of times we too close to the problem. We trying to fix something that we too close to it. Of it. Let somebody else hear it. See, okay? And when you start receiving these practices, when you start learning these things that help center you, ground you, give you a. Because listen, because you unpack those baggages doesn't mean it will never ever affect you again. This ain't a magic wand, okay? All right. Still couldn't be around my uncle up until the day, including forgiving him. I did a lot of work to the funeral to support his children, but I didn't go in that funeral to at all. Not at all. Not at all. And that's how I felt. You forgive. And you let go and you learn how to create a healthier life for yourself. It doesn't mean that I'm saying that you just magically no longer have these feelings and emotions. Feel it and go. Instead of it coming in, reside. You feel what I'm saying? Like basically, what you call it when you move into an abandoned building and don't move. That's what happens. Disrupt your lifestyle. Start practicing the techniques that learns to be able to ground you. You can be able to sit in it, allow yourself to cry it out, and then gather yourself, ground yourself, and that day. That will lead us to step forward with embrace forgiveness. Guys, my life started turning around when I learned to forgive, to truly forgive. And once I learned to forgive my uncle, forgive at all. Now it depends on what the person did will determine whether I forgive you and let you back in my life. Right? Boundaries. But forgiving a person don't mean that you gotta keep letting them back in your life to keep doing the same jacked up shit that they keep doing. You gotta keep forgiving them for it. True forgiveness. True forgiveness. A person truly wants your favor. Honest. You understand what I'm saying? I feel like the only humans on this earth that I'm going to keep forgiving, whether they understand it or not, will be the 4 children that I gave birth to, and anything that came from them. I ain't lying. And I will love you dearly. But if you're not conducive for my mental health, bye. See you later. But I will forgive. Because I can't hold on to it. You holding on to it, not whatever damage they did to you. Truth is, he blamed me. I was grown. The day my dad died, I wasn't mourning the death of my father. I was being grown and promiscuous and flirtatious with my. Right? So forgive. And when you learn the power of forgiveness, will become more and more easier through life. Because we got to understand that those baggage is nothing you can do about it. Like, it's nothing, absolutely nothing you can do about what has already happened. The only thing you can do is try to make sure that your future ain't got nothing to do with your past. The only thing you can do. Seen a winner of a race looking behind them. Release yourself from the weight of resentment. For forgiving yourself and others for mistakes and hurt. By hurt. So let's read this again. Release yourself from the weight of resentment and others. And listen, it's the truth. It's releasing yourself from the weight of resentment only happens by forgiveness. And see, the hardest thing for me to ever do was to forgive myself. Because there was so many things that there's 2 things I lesson as a child. or touched as a child, you either can't bear the thought of anyone touching you. Either side of the spectrum can hinder you from having any kind of productive romance. Remotely looks healthy. Remotely looks healthy. Do you understand me? It's almost like it's impossible to even happen. The professional help you need. Forgive yourself. Mistakes that you have made and mistakes that are perfect. And never will we ever be. Last and certainly not least, step 5. Listen, guys, all of these steps that we talked about today, without gratitude, it means nothing. Cultivate towards the positive aspect of your life. Appreciating what you have learned from your experience. I can't even begin to tell y'all, including my uncle hurting me and being violated. Y'all, the gratitude it takes to overcome, to teach others how to do it. Grateful that I have gone through such horrible experiences, and now I, at 44 years old, soon to be 45 years old, can look at myself in the mirror and love who's looking back at me. Because I've done the work. If I've never gone through anything, I wouldn't have a testimony. Gratitude. You are now, when you learn how to be grateful for even the dark times, life isn't so dark anymore, y'all. I used to say, my depression was so bad, I got rushed to the hospital maybe about 5 years ago. Swearing to God, I was having a heart attack. I'm having a heart attack. I would say 4 years ago. Having a heart attack. And every time I get to the hospital, it's like, ma'am, ma'am. We can point out what triggered it. It got to the point where I just didn't want to wake up no more. If this is how I feel every time I wake up, I don't want to wake up no more. Y'all, when I started doing the with all these practices, identifying your emotional baggage, practice self-compassion, seek support, and full. It becomes to use these tools. Because see, yesterday was a terrible day. I wake up, the first thing whatever happened yesterday is yesterday. Ain't got nothing to do with today. There was a time day, and you already have it set in your head that it's going to carry over to tomorrow. Ain't that crazy that you already create in your head that tomorrow? Mind blowing. It blows my mind that I was that way. That I thought of life that way. Ain't nothing going to change anyway, so why even try? So glad I'm free from that. Towards the positive aspect of your life. Appreciate you learned from your experience. One of my favorite to you. But everything is happening for you. So if you learn to be grateful about even the dark times, them low valleys, you become to understand. It might be years later, but it's easier for you to get through life when you want you to try to self-harm yourself over things. You just not be who make it past 1:30. There are people who have tried, who made their first and final attempt, and here was trying at every chance I got. I thought it was my life was Russian roulette. So glad, so glad that God had me than I did. I hope you enjoyed this content. Hopefully you learned something. If you didn't and you are not subscribed, take the time out to go subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell icon so you upload every single Thursday at 7 p.m. And we also go live every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Hopefully you caught our live on our Tuesday that just passed. It was our first live back because your girl took a whole little mini vacay, all right? Because, yeah, it's really important. Burnout, my mental health is the top of my list before anything or anybody. Okay, so I am trying to figure this path out and keeping my mindset together so that I don't crash and burn. You feel what I'm saying? That is the goal. So thank you. Leave a comment. Please leave a comment down below. And I haven't gotten it yet, and I can't wait for the first one. But if you would like to tell me your butterfly story, I would love to at becoming a butterfly pod at gmail.com. And I will read your butterfly story right here on this. I can't wait to have the segment, the butterfly story segment. I have not gotten a letter yet. Maybe you will be the very first letter I get. So if you would like to tell butterfly story, once again, becoming a butterfly pod at gmail.com. You also can follow me on social media. Girl, TikTok will be coming together. If it's not together already by the time this podcast launch, it within a couple of weeks. But we do have Instagram and Facebook. I know everybody, turn their nose up at Facebook, pay content creators. I'm just saying. Just saying. So if you would like to follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, please, by all means, I would love for you to follow me. Thank you so much for joining me today, episode 11. It's your girl, Christina Butterfly, also known as Chrissy O, the artist. And your girl, Chrissy O, the artist, will be having a giveaway. Yes, we will be doing a giveaway. I am launching my art back up. I decided to create my art real time live on Facebook. I'm sorry, not live on YouTube. And I'm so super excited because I miss crafting. I miss getting my craft. And I wanted to do it that it makes sense, but I also wanted to generate income around it because the type of art I create, it costs a couple dollars to buy. It just do. So keep your ears closed. Make sure you got that bell icon